Because I have to leave at 9:30.
Almost once a week, aren't they?
Hopefully we'll be bringing them in by then.
I hope so.
No, lights.
They're doing lights.
Do you guys have
They did
any
one,
executive session afterwards? again?
One light when you first go on Village Road, the first one right there, they swapped out that one. Oh, they only do a few at a time, so they're going north. They're planning
They do
probably.
about 3,
And
and then they take about 6 months, and then they do about 3 more. Why, who did you want to call for that?
There's a guy that's, remember his name.
They did a set maybe 2 weeks ago. Last week they did a bunch, and they kind of finished up by like Center Street. Now they did a stack of papers like this much for all North Beach. They're coming back
It's down
soon.
to 18 now. 18 dead. From that town and the town. There's a guy that's the representative for.
You can give them a call. I will tell you, we called in. We called every single light out about 2 months ago.
Yeah, really.
Give us an idea, because
It's a message.
the other night,
Yes, he has talked to him yesterday, it's going to be very,
they were
it's
really
really,
the pole.
we had a.
Not the one that stopped, but before that. I was coming from.
Is he gonna be up there or is he here?
And it was contract.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't stay
There was
police.
state police there.
Yeah.
No lights really.
These are,
It was pretty dark. It was pretty dark. How come state police get there?
Sometimes when they subcontract out for driving, they just go along the state highway and they'll just call on state trooper to do whatever they want to do. They don't even notify us that they're coming.
No, that was the other thing, is did we know?
No.
We know.
No, they don't know. We've had
Because even
no,
like in the village, they dropped off a transformer because it was leaking. They put it in the guy's driveway. You know, that Howard is coming, or why it's there or anything. So, I'll see what Joe. He doesn't like me calling on my own. But I think we should know that he's the community advisor representative. Recommend.
Big office.
That's what he's, I think, good morning.
Yeah, I just wanted to open this up.
okay, great, thank you. Oh, okay, cool. All right, thank you so much.
I just want to make sure some do the opposite.
I'll discuss it. I called, I read your email.
You saw that?
For one thing,
Yeah.
I'm so that I can't
Punching into
shut
all this.
all ones and seven.
I don't understand the PCA on the field, you know, it doesn't make sense. I don't know how they can do it either.
Yeah, and the one in front of you, that's where.
Exactly, I mean, there are.
Bad flooding.
There are exceptions are making that runs right into the development. On the arena.
I recognize.
The other one was down in Chris Highway.
Storm drain.
Yeah, but they don't have to redo the fence building.
Okay.
The one in the north is.
I knew you were a lawyer.
They have to redo
The problem is the state, once they get something, they want it, so we found out, they accepted the bill.
it. I'd like to meet with the property owner, maybe Brian or somebody.
Which is what makes, doesn't, I don't like it, but it makes sense, that more sense than what the CA did. Like, that's how we interpreted that, it was open anywhere.
The problem with that is, they
And
put
this is the fact that the
14
only remedy that
on
is
the
not
property.
passed.
But the survey only requires 70 So if he gives them 14 and he wants to sell the house, so much, he wants to build a big house, it renders his property
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous.
a lot less valuable.
So we'll talk, I mean, this one's more narrow, but I just didn't know why you can't wait to hear about something as a, because
Do it
can you just
myself.
open up, can you just open up, silver house, can you open up?
Because I think
Anywhere you
that-
want. Yeah, but it have to, when you have to design your zone, it's still allowed.
do.
I think so. I don't know how the DCA gets around it. I mean, they would tell people. When I read that in Morristown, apparently they were telling people
Yes.
that.
Right. Because it's important, I guess it's set, right?
What I read was, and I don't know if I read the latest, municipal court judge said, no.
That's what municipal court, municipal court.
And municipal court judge said, no, I'm imposing a fine, and you don't need to.
I don't think-
You know, I didn't understand it higher than that, but at least the municipal court judge said.
Right.
No, you gotta keep it. Gotta get it on the or, you know, get on the commission process.
I think.
Right. He's gonna almost allow it, but he doesn't want the.
I will talk to her, yeah. Okay, I don't need to have
I will.
This is Brendan from our.
Well, you know what, to be honest, though, I was, I did not know that, I didn't know. Just the style, I didn't know that's gonna come close too. That's a big deal. For a lot of people around here, that's a big deal. High school football is huge.
Oh, yeah, no, that's like a major job with that.
Exactly.
You want to go to, it's like college, you want to go to a good school with a good football team.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
It is.
It's the other side.
I think it's really well, I know Lakeland doesn't anymore. Lakeland just dissolved. Yeah. I see them in, Mexico.
I think Jeff had a way back. Oh, that's right. I don't know what's coming around, that's it. Jeff was out the gate last night, so I don't know if, here, he's having trouble on. So he left there. Hey, good morning, buddy. Am I morning, everybody? Hey, Mike.
We all set for the audit report?
In a minute, yeah, we're gonna kick off the meeting in a minute, we're just seeing if our other council people are gonna show up or not. But I guess we got it. All right, good morning, everybody, thanks for coming out for today's workshop meeting. You can start with the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This meeting is now called to order. In line with words expressed along city council and government and in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, I wish to advise that adequate notice of this emergency meeting was sent to the Asbury Park. The over the papers on March 3rd, 2021. The date, time, and location of this meeting were provided in the notice. This meeting is open to the public. Roll call. Councilmember Berthold. Here. Booker.
Here.
Sorry.
He's online. Cat Wilder.
Here.
Taylor. Present. Tommy. Here. Lexi.
Here.
All right, first up, we will remarks from the audience. If there's anybody in person or online who'd like to be heard, just please state your name and your address, and you've got 3 minutes to address everybody. Morning.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Linda Lanier, I live 2 Village Road. I would respectfully request that the wayfinding path that exists directly across from Enterprise, directing people directly into traffic, be removed. That was never an excessive plan. There's a break in the fence, and people walk directly into traffic. So please save lives and eliminate that path. The other thing I would request is that only 2 garbage cans be permitted to the businesses, because currently there are businesses that leave multiple garbage cans that make it impossible for pedestrians to pass, and it also presents a health hazard. Thank you very much.
Yeah, the second item is on the agenda today, so that will be discussed.
The first item's done, here there's not, so. The first item's done, here there's not, so. I think it's better, so. The end of October, right?
But I think Linda, Ms. Lemmy's concern is that
Oh, the fence.
we have a break in the history of that is,
I'd say the sidewalk.
It's in a female side.
the history of that was that prior to the fence being erected, people were walking all through our new plantings. And Councilman Keeler brought that up, that it was kind of hazardous, people walking through there, and we just put a concrete sidewalk. It's only, everybody knows it's only very small. When the fence was put up, it looked like, it still does look like it's a bona fide, walkway that goes across. You see the yellow lines in the middle of the street. We do put a watch pedestrian there.
But it still directs people right into traffic.
No, we agree. I agree. It kind of looks like, feels like a crosswalk there, but it really isn't. They need to go to the corner to cross. It's not a bona fide crosswalk. You and I visited it.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the summer. So that's really the genesis of it. It was put there kind of like for people to get over the plantings before we had the fence. Now that you have a fence, it looks like the sidewalks there.
The only thing is, on the south end, there's really no entrance from the parking lot to the sidewalk.
No, there is.
No, there's not a sidewalk that goes through there. Oh, wait, no, there is, yeah, by the machine, yeah, that's right, okay.
Yeah, that was the thing, it's an engineer in to be there, that's why. All right, so would anyone else like to be heard today? Anyone online? All right, so moving on to our items for discussion. First up would be our CFO Mike Bassett, who is online right now. He's going to discuss the results from 2020 financial audit. Mike, you are up.
Okay, good morning, everybody. I'll try to be relatively quick, but at the same time, explain where we are. Our Pullman Kearney analysis has completed our 2020 municipal audit, which means they've reviewed detailed records from January 1, 2020 to December 31, 2020, and have gotten the audit submitted in accordance with state regulations regarding our review of our financial records. The overall opinion on the audit, as quoted on their submission, is the best opinion that can be rendered for financial statements. So this is not unusual for us. We get the highest opinion on a regular basis. One of the key things that they review is the internal controls and the basic operations and interactions between departments and that work with the finance department and tax office in managing our funding. One thing that was very clear is that, for years we've always worked on improving internal controls, improving communications from department to department. This audit once again reinforces that the improvements that we have continuously made are working. There's no surprises on our financial side. If you recall, early in the year during the budget process, we reviewed the unaudited financial statements. At that time, I advised you that the current fund has positioned itself as planned to take on the beginning of the debt service payments for the large capital improvements that were made after Sandy, including the building you're in now, just building firehouse and sewer improvements and drainage improvements, parks and things of that nature. This audit just reinforces again that we have built a fund balance to position ourselves to be able to take on the new payments without a spike in taxes. It also reinforces that the beach utility continues to operate at a high level, which is no surprise to those of you who've been there throughout the past 2 seasons. And financially, those two funds are in a very strong position. It also verifies, our concerns earlier about the strength of the sewer utility fund and the need to continue to evaluate the future of the sewer utility fund and the investments we need to make in the infrastructure to reduce inflow, also to get to a rate that will assure that the sewer utility continues to be self-liquidating. Self-liquidating meaning that the funds raised from sewer rents covers all the costs and expenses related to the sewer utility. We do continue to be self-liquidated. However, there's certainly a need going forward to assure that we continue, after more than a decade of no rate increases, to just continue to bump that rate up a little bit to assure that we remain self-liquidated. No surprise, parking meter revenues are significantly up. I think it was important to note that we did issue the debt at a very good time. We achieved very low rates, long-term rates, and the residents and the administration received a benefit from that for years and years to come, decades to come. One thing of note, which is somewhat unusual, is they found no weaknesses that were worth reporting in the audit report. So we received no comments or recommendations from the auditor for areas where they felt we could improve or do a little better. It's very unusual. It's a high bar to attain. I think absolute recognition and thanks should go out to not just Wayne, Christy, Trish, Christine, and Michelle in the offices who handle much of the day-to-day financial work, but all department heads who work together to improve their processes, to improve internal controls, to comply with the cash management program and all the policies that were put forward over the years. So I think all department heads definitely are part of the fact that we've ended this audit with no comments or recommendations for improvements whatsoever. At this point, really, we just need some verification that you've reviewed the audit and proof of publication, so we can move forward with making the final submission to the state. I'd be glad to answer any questions that the council may have.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks again for the presentation. And and thanks again. I know everything is just a governing body. The economic health of the town is, of course, crucial. And your entire team, as you noted, all the department heads, everybody else helps with that. Thanks to you for all your planning and support here. So that really has been crucial. None of this is accidental. So our economic health today is just is not by chance. So I just want to thank you for too, working with the team.
And Mayor, just to say that, I recognize the department heads and finance that, but certainly the Borough Council is key to this with their policies, allowing us to do the things that we do, and for being so open to interaction and discussion in regard to planning in the future.
Thanks, sir. Anyone have any questions for Mike?
Mayor?
Jeff, lawyers.
Yes, I apologize for being there in person. I'm on business, but I do want to commend, as Mike said, as you said, the work of the administration, the work of the finance team, on getting not just a clean audit, but one that has been submitted to us with flying colors, as it were. So again, thanks to the team, and as Mike said, for our council, for administration to come together to put forward a sound financial plan, which then yields a strong audit. So with that in mind, I would move that we accept the findings of the audit and move that forward.
Second that. I'd also like to commend Mr. Beckman for
many years of service to us.
Oh, yeah.
I appreciate it, Mike, just all the work you've done.
My pleasure.
Any other comments for Mike on his letter? Mike, thanks again. Appreciate it.
Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, Mike.
There will be a resolution Tuesday accepting the audit.
All right, on to number 2, capital projects update. I know you'll be speaking to the bridge update. Obviously, we all know the bridge construction project is Sneak involved, and then also the update on Ocean Drainage project. So,
Thank you, Mayor. Let me, last Tuesday, there was a meeting in Freehold, a kickoff meeting. The contract's been awarded for the bridge, and there was a kickoff meeting I was unable to attend, and Chief Friedman and Frank Lawrence attended to bring us up to speed. But I believe it's imminent. The project is moving forward, and I'll ask Chief and Frank to give us a brief update on the status and maybe some scheduling.
Okay, thank you. First off, the contractor is very anxious to get started. He's got a deadline to get completed and a fairly significant daily liquidated damages charge if he goes over. It's obviously in his best interest to get started as quickly as possible. He talked in terms of 30 days. I think there are some challenges there because he has to do a lot of documentation before they'll allow him to get started. But that's his objective, is to get started fairly quickly. So that was on October 5th. So I would expect us to be starting to see them here certainly within the next month or so.
Right, does that mean they're going to demolish the building?
They are going to demolish Dunkin' Donuts at the beginning. They've already come in to get the demo permit information, and they're going forward with that.
So you think like in the next 30 days that building's going to be there?
I would say shortly thereafter, yes. It's going to take them a little while. They've got to get all the disconnects from utilities. There's a whole process to go through for demo. So it might take a little bit longer than that.
The only reason I bring that up, and I was going to bring it up today anyway, because that's how it's on the agenda. The landscape, I mean, I know the building's coming down, but it's atrocious in the rear there. We had had it, when we didn't own the property, we had them actually clean it up. It's now all overgrown, it looks horrible, and if we could get somebody back there to clean it up until the building comes down, it would be nice. It's a real eyesore when they're coming down.
I do think they want that down as quickly as possible. They need every inch of space they can get in order to get this project going. They've been actively looking for space in town. Of course, like everybody else is looking for space in town, there just isn't anything available. That's available during the summer. So they're still actively looking for additional space. The county is looking to put together a public meeting prior to them actually showing up and working, which means very quickly. There was a discussion about whether we would do this jointly with Rumson, and I suggested to them if they could get Holy Cross, that would seem to be a reasonable spot to do it. Easy for us to get to. Otherwise, we have this room available if they're going to do two separate ones. So I would expect them to reach out to us fairly soon to set that date. They intend to keep the website up to date, which they have not been doing that much in the last probably in the last year or so, because there really wasn't a lot going on. And it seems reasonable for us to just link to that from our website rather than try to keep up all that information on our website directly. If you look at the contract, it says, I think it's 1,320 days to completion. If you do the math, that's like May of 2025. So you should expect to see quite a lot of activity over that period of time. There is, as Brett could probably attest, there's an army of engineers and other people involved in the oversight of this, so I expect to see a lot of people walking around town and hopefully going to our restaurants and our other businesses in town as well. Any other questions?
questions?
Chief, anything?
Yeah, I just think what was a good point is the people representing Rumson, they want to move everybody towards the county website. Any questions coming in, refer to the county website. They don't want to try to answer every question, calling the police or calling any of the town officials. They want to try to really steer people towards that county website, which I think we should do of answering any questions. I know the needs of the Rumson residents are going to be different from what's going to happen on this side. They're worried about the park over there, and they're worried about being lacking and some of the stuff. Some of the stuff on that side that's not going to concern us on this side. So there definitely going to be some difference. We're going to have safety meetings every month, meeting with the police and the other officials to make it go smoothly. You'll know when it starts. We'll start seeing everything pouring up there. They said within a month, so we're hoping within a month.
Does the county website have, does the county website have like a live feed, like a camera feed of it?
It does not, and not at this point. I'm not sure whether that's a contractual requirement or not, it may well be.
I just think that's something that would be really beneficial, not only for the town, just because you can see how bad things what's going on, but I think it would be great for historical purposes. I mean, because this is a big, that bridge has changed so many times now. This is going to be hopefully one of the last ones we'll see in our lifetime before it ends.
In our lifetime,
It'd be great. Huh?
If it's built right, it should.
The last one we've seen in our lifetime. So, I mean, for historical purposes, I'd like to see, at least, some kind of recording or process, like daily process of how things are going there. It's kind of cool to record that for archival purposes.
It's amazing that in a lot of people's lifetimes will be the third one.
Yeah.
That's all of my mind.
Let's just hope this is the only one. I would like to see something like that, so I don't know if we can reach out to them, see if they got something, or if we can maybe put something in place. I don't know. So anyway, this is a thought. Thank you.
All right, Frank, thanks. Yes, we were.
The Ocean Avenue.
I think you got a copy of the letter. The state has hit the pause button on the Ocean Avenue drainage project that they began. It's basically backflow preventers to stop a lot of the flooding that we see on Ocean Avenue in both North Beach and South Beach. The project didn't concentrate on downtown; those are ours. But in North Beach and South Beach, near Eventide, when you can't drive through Ocean Avenue, and in North Beach, you're driving through saltwater when you're leaving town. They had put together a project and worked on it for the last 2 years, at least. And they hit a wall with a few property owners that were reluctant to give them an easement on their property to complete this.
Free total, right?
Pardon me?
Free total?
That's what, yes, 3 I'm told. The property owners kind of objected to the way the project was proceeding. My recommendation, and I talked to Kevin about it, is that we try to get the 2 things. One, there have been no objections in South Beach. Ask the state to let's solve that problem. There's no objections. Let's proceed with that. That's where the police seem to have a lot of problems most of the time. They have to close down the road. People are getting stuck in the middle of Ocean Avenue. And second would be to get a small group together with the affected property owners and see what their objections are. I know what one is, and it's a valid objection. The state wants a larger easement on their property, a 14-foot easement, but the zoning only requires a 7.5-foot setback, which if they ever want to rebuild a bigger home on the property, would drastically affect his or whoever's ability to build a larger, nicer home there. So that doesn't seem reasonable. And they want to move the pipe. Maybe the path of least resistance is just replace the pipe as is. But Kevin volunteered to sit down, and I'd asked the mayor to come as well, to sit down with the property owners, and let's see if we can hash this out. The state does it through letters. I don't know that they ever really sat down with the property owners. I think maybe if we talk, the property owners all acknowledge the problem out there. It's not like they don't think there is a problem. Them, as much as anybody else, don't want to drive their cars through salt water.
I like the plan moving forward. hopefully proceed with South Beach since there aren't any.
And I know one of the property owners, pretty good terms with him, so hopefully we can at least get some decent.
I mean, we'll have to discuss whether we want to meet individually or as a group, because they all have a little bit different problem.
I think it might be best to do it individually, just because, I don't want to, and I know I wouldn't want to air my grievances about my neighbor if my neighbor's sitting in front of me. But the other thing is too, I think as a whole, from a town's perspective, we need to get together, and I had asked for this before, we need to get a letter together to the state to really stress how important it is that we get this done. Just so we don't get this, oh, it's too hard, we're not gonna do it. We need to give them an absolute 100% reason that this has to get done, and let's try and do whatever we need to get done, so. If the police department wants to put a few cents into as to why we need to get, what it affects, how it affects you guys as far as the cars getting stuck, and salt water, fire department too, the trucks going through salt water. Just anything that we can put together, just get a letter together to the state to really, really stress how important it is that we get these fixed. Because it is problematic and it's getting worse and worse and worse every year. We saw it this weekend, and all the flooding in town was down the river, and it was coming up through those drain pipes, so,
But now there's the evacuation route.
Exactly. Exactly, it's an
If
evacuation.
they alleviate that one, we have a better chance.
We got one way in and one way out. If it's flooded, we can't get out, so.
And as you noted, that obviously this causes the project, but doesn't kill it. There are specific, the project isn't killed.
Well, yeah,
But I can draft
from the sound of
some.
this letter, it sounds like we're done, we're gonna.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you. But all right, so we'll do that, and we'll try to, at least, as you said, at least we'll proceed with the South Beach ones.
Yeah, so anybody on council, if you get a letter or get some comments into Chris, and maybe Chris can compile them into something that makes sense.
Draft something for the mayor to sign.
Yeah, please, thank you, that'd be great.
Sounds good. All right, so both of our chiefs are here. I guess we start off with our chief police director, next week's update.
Good morning, everybody. So last month, we had approximately 464 calls for services. The usual stuff, disorderly persons, DWI, some thefts, some inappropriate behavior, the normal stuff that we deal with. Last month, we also had a representative from Axon come in with our new body cameras and body cam training. Most likely, we're going to roll those out. I'm thinking sometime next month if we get our software, understand how to use everything properly. So we do have body cameras in, and I think we're going to want to. I'm thinking right around December 1st, sometime in December, everyone's going to start wearing them, and we got them. Also, I didn't talk about the outdoor dining. I did deliver a letter to all business owners. They all know that October 31st, technically the last day was just Sunday, but the barricades are going to be off on that Monday morning. I've already spoke to the company, and they're coming to get them Monday morning. So it's not going to be a shocker, and everybody's well aware, so no surprises. There's no surprises on that. And this I didn't know. I did attend a bridge meeting with Frank, which was interesting. Also, last month, I know we had a dune grass meeting, and I took Sam on a dune grass tour. I think we looked at every piece of dune grass in this town. It was interesting, but so we can talk about that. I know over the weekend we had a boat wash out in the fire department, we got fuel out of it. I did speak to the owner of the boat last night. She broke loose from Long Island, Fire Island. Broke loose from Fire Island, washed up on Seabright. She is very sensitive to the beach and our needs. She does have insurance, it is registered. She's working right now with the state police and some of our salvage companies to get this off of the beach. It's not gonna sit there like that last South Sailboat did. We could become experts on washing boats. So she said it's gonna come off today. What's that?
Could be worse, it could be the one in that one.
It could be correct. So hopefully, she says it's gonna come off today. I don't think it's gonna come off today. I think within a couple of days, we have to figure out what we're gonna take off as it goes on. We have some challenges, last year with the other boat. Also, I met with a group of parents about crossing guards. I know Mark was out there, a couple of parents wanted crossing guards for their
kids, when the bus is traveling northbound, they didn't want them to go all the way to the hook, come back up around and drop them off. So hopefully we can work something out. We have a few parents that want to become crossing guards. I have all their applications. We have to get them appointed if it's going to be all right. They're also going to get trained through the GIF. So the GIF has a training, crossing guard program training, which we have to update it, and even update our crossing guard policies. It's really out of date.
Do we have to wait until the train will appoint them, or do we appoint them and then they get trained?
We can go either, or I think we should probably, we want to appoint them. We still have, they're basically our employees, so we still have to appoint them, train them, and we have to do a background check like we do with every employee.
So why don't can we put it on the agenda for Tuesday night? Can you give them the names and we'll appoint them and then,
Yeah, I can give it if you want, yeah.
Pending the training and.
And the background,
Absolutely.
yes, and hopefully within probably about maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we'll get this thing rolling. And then we'll
Exactly. So that's why I thought it'd be great. And just so everybody knows, this is the crossing right here.
Right.
To go right down, right out of New Street, to get people across. Because again, like Fred said, the buses are going all the way down to Sandy Club. So the kids are basically like, hi mom, driving all the way back and then coming all the way back. It's ridiculous. I feel bad for them. So no checks on the bus that long.
Well, I
know you did.
So me and
Yeah.
Chad brought up down there, we were the first ones to get picked up, the last one to get dropped off. Terrible. So,
Look at it.
we definitely understand how long.
So we definitely need crossing guards.
We definitely understand how long we can get a school bus for, but we are working on it, hope we'll have it done within the next week or two. And, shit, right now?
One question too, on the return, or when they actually drop them off, there's one spot for everybody to.
This is just gonna be the one spot in town. This is gonna be the one spot in town where most of the parents, most of the kids are getting on that. There's a few other spots up there where you're gonna be dropped off and the other way, but this is the main one that we're gonna have, because we can't have crossing guards sitting every drop off and see, right? We don't have that many anymore. I'm lucky to get this group of parents that wanna do it.
Yeah, in about 5 years, we're gonna have about 10 kids get picked up here, so.
Yeah. There are kids returning to town.
Huh?
There are kids returning to town.
Yeah, we got 3 new babies this year, so 4.
Then the bus will still continue.
You're saying they're all-
Continue up and turn around and come back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Our number did not change
Right.
this year for our school-age children.
So the school numbers did, overall.
The school number, but overall it didn't. We maintained 46 children from,
Yeah, because it's,
From
it's
K-12.
spaced out, so. Like I said, we got like 3 or 4 new babies in town. We got about 5, 6 years before they get there. Hopefully by that point, we're at sure.
Thanks, chief.
Thank you.
Fire chief, Brad Murphy.
Not much going on. Call for service to date as of 8 a.m. is 352. They're out on right now, so there should probably be 353. Summer season totals, what we consider summer season would be really May 15th to the end of September. This year, 242 polls. That's down from 298 last year. Training wise, Saturday we're going to be in the river at the bridge, 9 a.m. It's going to be an outgoing tide, so we'll probably be set up around the anchorage. If anybody wants to come, we're going to do our short stuff again. So,
What time is that?
9 a.m. Saturday, we'll be in the river at the bridge for a couple hours. And then I want to get with Frank about that Dunkin' Donuts building. I'm interested in that building on the days that you have this demolition for stuff to be a huge grant for that. So I'll work with Frank to get a hold of the owner and work with, usually what we do is we work with Ed Wheeler when the demo permits are issued.
Yes, the county has the owners. So.
The county,
The county owns it.
so maybe Frank or Joe can help me. Okay, so that would be.
That'd be great. That'd be good.
Just the days leading up to it, that way. Good. Something to have. That's all I have.
Reggie, thanks. Any questions, Ed? Very good, all right. All right, so number 4, the home inspection report, we'll all receipt. What's that? This is the properties. So I guess we're sending letters pretty soon, and then kick off.
Correct.
And then they have to take action.
So one thing from that report that we can discuss here is the additional cost for
for some of the additional inspections that need to be taken, that need to be done. There were a number of properties on there that couldn't be determined from the river, from that standpoint, from that viewpoint, vantage point, they couldn't determine how bad the damage was. So they requested that we look into them a little bit further. Obviously, it's going to cost a little bit more money, so we might want to talk to Mike about and see if we can get some funding to get that done, because these properties definitely, again, part of the downtown storm surge this past weekend was bulkhead related, a lot of it was bulkhead related, so.
Kevin, I agree with you. I mean, this is a one-time thing that we're gonna have to do like every decade or so, whatever.
If we can do it in one batch, like every 10 years,
exactly.
and then we at least have an idea of how much it's gonna cost us, and we can budget that out for the next, 10 years from now, so I think we should absolutely do it.
So you just got a quote from them, how much they need?
I think I have it.
Okay.
I think that when we were comparing the engineering firm, I said I wanted everybody just to submit that, but some of them submitted the follow-ups and everything else. So the letters are going to go out. It gives the property owners 90 days. And you'll probably see the bulkhead ordinance again, because when we sent it to general code publishers to codify it, to put it on, they found some discrepancies where it said that engineer does this, and then in another spot it says the construction official. It's really the engineer. The construction official has little or nothing. So we may clean that up, Chris.
What's the fine for that again?
There is no fine. There is no fine. If the property owner doesn't do it in accordance with we do it and put a lien on the property.
Okay, gotcha.
So there's really no fine other
Yeah,
than.
so I was gonna say, if it's just a fine, it's never gonna get paid, so just keep
But the goal of the ordinance was that gets done.
Exactly, right, all right, yeah, thank you for catching on that.
That's all I have on that one.
All right, thanks, Jim.
Mayor?
Yeah.
I just had a question on this item. That's what I'm just trying to clear, as to what the plan is going forward. When we say 90 days, are we saying that the property owner is given 90 days to remediate the bulkhead?
No. They have
What is that?
Jeff, they have to submit plans showing that they're going to be remediating the bulkhead approved by the borough engineer. So that we know something's actually happening. We're not expecting anyone to wave a magic wand to fix the bulkhead, that's the case. But they've got to show a plan.
Okay.
And it is also an opportunity for the residents to meet with the engineer.
Absolutely.
To explain, for him, her, to explain where the deficiency is. It may just be one piece of sheet that has to be driven in, or some other fix. It's not necessarily a completely new bulkhead.
Right.
And remember, under our ordinance, if it's more than 50%, you have to come to the new level. If it's less than 50% of the bulkhead, it does not have to. It can remain as is, so they don't have to redo it. They don't think it's going to redo the whole bulkhead if it's less than 50%.
What if somebody said, I'm going to take my bulkhead down, because we'll take it down, I don't want to.
You have a lot of people that don't have bulkheads. It can't affect another property owner by doing that, however.
So we don't have any recourse or.
No, there's nothing we can do on that.
No, I think that they need CAFRA and everything else, so I don't know how many hoops they have to jump through for that. But we have many places, especially in North Beach, where there's no bulkheads.
That's one of the reasons over the years we've had discussion, never taken action. That was a primary reason. Like having to force it, especially when some people don't have a bulkhead right now. So
I think though that the environmental laws are much stricter. I don't know that it'd be that easy to just get a bulldozer and put it down.
Never mind the fact that they probably lose a good chunk of their property by taking it down.
I got to the ordinance for boarding rooming houses and any more.
Yeah, so basically the reason this is on the agenda is to start a discussion on this. It's recently come to light that the Department of Community Affairs has created these things called sober houses. And what sober houses are places where addicts, recovering addicts can go and they can live while they're recovering, and it creates a communal atmosphere within these facilities. And essentially what the Department of Community Affairs has said is that you can open one of these in any district that's zoned as single family. So that basically means your next door neighbor could set up a sober house, doesn't need zoning approval, it's automatically okay to open one of these, and you can put within the house at least 10 people, up to 10 people. You can't put over 10 people, but up to 10 recovering addicts in the house. And again, the neighborhood doesn't get to say anything about it. This recently happened in one of the towns that I represent, and they had never heard of it, I hadn't heard of it, but it sort of came as like a punch in the face where suddenly they're having to deal with the situation. So these things are coming. The Department of Community Affairs pays you to run one of these, and I just think we need to be prepared for it.
There's nothing we can do to prevent it.
So that's what this ordinance does is it creates a scheme where you have to actually be licensed to open one of them. So you have to come here, and whether we can deny the license or not is questionable, but at least you can create some sort of a, put conditions on someone if they're going to be opening in order to get a license. And the Department of Community Affairs is fine with that. And it also allows spacing so that you can say things such as you can't open one within like 1,000 feet from another one. So you don't have to worry about an entire neighborhood becoming sober houses. So with that said, I turned it over to Roger and Rich, and they looked at it. And did you want to speak on it?
So thank you. We'd like to see if we could address it in a narrow, tailored way, sort of a general ordinance on rooming and boarding houses for a number of reasons. One is the bureaucracy it creates. Second is the confusion it might create in that you have this licensing ordinance for rooming and boarding houses, which are not otherwise permitted in your zone. So if, and I say if, and I'll talk about that for a second, if the DCA can do this, which apparently they think they can, but we have questions about, we think probably the better way to deal with having conditions on sober houses is an ordinance tailored just for sober houses. We saw an example online of one municipality that did it through creating a conditional use just for sober houses. So they would have to meet conditions by virtue of the ordinance. They couldn't exist without meeting the conditions. So we want to look at that before you go into a whole thing on room and board houses, basically.
Yeah, because the intent of this is not to open the door to boarding houses within the town, but it's to be active in advance.
Understood.
Yeah, to make sure that we don't get hit when it happens. So we can't sleep on it that long.
Yeah.
But so Roger and Rich are working on it and want to come up with something.
I'm personally opening a sober house at a town 22 liquor license is probably a bad idea.
They're coming though. If you go on the net and type in sober house, it's a trend. I mean, they are coming because it's very enticing to people to open these.
But isn't it similar to group homes that, we had no ability?
It's interesting. So Rich and I were just talking about that, is that so the municipal land use law actually creates inherently beneficial uses for people with developmentally mental issues. It's actually in the municipal land use code.
Right.
And you can't do anything about those because they're automatically permitted. Sober house is not in that listing. Because it's relatively new, but Rich is telling me that there's actually a bill in the assembly to make sober houses fit into that category. So it's coming. So we've got to be prepared.
Yeah. So currently, as part of the municipal land use law, by state statute, allowed within residential zones, as long as they meet certain definitions, are community residences for persons with developmental disabilities, community shelters for victims of domestic violence, community residence for persons with terminal illnesses, community residence for persons without head injury, and a few others, but not sober houses. So we're not quite sure how the DCA thinks they can do this, but apparently they think they can.
They definitely think they can.
Yeah. We want to take a little bit of a look at it and not take too much time with it, obviously, but to see what our alternatives are, to come up with something pretty narrow and careful.
Thanks.
So we're back on the, basically, to solve this question, codes, of course, it's a list of things to take out. So, Joe, I know you asked.
Well, Chris put together a list of those that we pick up. It's in our solid waste ordinance, and you have that in your package, I believe. We talked a lot about it internally. A lot of towns, I don't know the percentage, do not pick up business trash. That's a given. I don't know if it's 50-50, but it's common. However, you also have some that, I don't want to single them out, but you have some that are just like small professional businesses that probably put out a bag, twice a week or once a week. So just in preparation, you're to get a hauler to come in and get that may be quite onerous on some of the smaller mom and pop businesses. We know that there are some, and Sean has put together, and Dave put together at the request of Councilman Booker, like what are the numbers we're talking about here? In some of those, it's a significant number that the balance of the residents in Seabright subsidizing, that business to a great extent. And as someone pointed out, sometimes you can't even walk down the street, when they put out their, so there are different ways that you may want to combat this without doing anything. Maybe go from our 5 or 10, depending on the size. You can put out 5 64-gallon or 10 32-gallon. You say you limit it to 2. Limit it to 2. That'll handle that could handle the mom and pops there, the just professional businesses that have some paper.
So do we have numbers yet?
I believe we do.
I mean, the numbers out there right now.
I did hand that in to council a month ago, the last 2 meetings ago.
I don't have it here.
I don't have it on me, but I did put in a report of what certain places do generate.
No, do we know how much it would actually save the taxpayers? Not tonnage.
A monetary figure?
Yes. That's what we really wanted to see.
I mean, one place alone, roughly about 20 grand a year just in tip fees.
Right. So, and the other thing, I was actually talking to Murphy Anderson last night. I mean, he brought it up, and you and I were talking about it. One of my concerns is if they go to private collection of the commercial uses, we can avoid what's happening now where the garbage truck comes in, it's one trip, they pick up all the restaurant sewage, for lack of a better term, that then goes drifting along and goes to Seabright Village, and I think Mr. Powers calling me and asking me why the truck is drifting down his road, which is a legitimate concern. If they have their own private truck coming in because they have to get their own haulage, that wouldn't be happening, because they would go to their place, get their garbage, and get out of here, and would be next to everybody else's garbage dry. So, and I still think it's something we should be doing, especially if the savings are the way that Sean says it. I think plus it's
But maybe by limiting the amount, it would in a certain way, it's going to require them to do that.
Yeah, but how do you tell a restaurant's going to produce the garbage that they're going to produce? How do we tell them what they
Well, that's
limit how much like intelligence you put out in their garbage?
So
what are they going to do with it?
I think
They're going to have to hire someone in.
yeah.
Well, exactly. So why don't we just go that? So what are we going to do? We're going to say, hire your own, but we're still going to pick up 2 cans.
We're gonna pick up 2 cans.
Yeah, we'll pick up 2 cans if you have anything more to go.
Or someone that has less trash or wildflowers, they're still gonna get their trash picked up.
It just seems to
That's
me.
the issue for years, because some locations don't generate a lot of garbage, they don't have really anywhere to put a dumpster.
They don't need-
They weren't
you don't
set
need-
up, they
you
weren't
don't-
set up for it.
you don't-
It's been like this for a long time.
you don't need a
So
dumpster.
Snatch it away from them would be a huge.
You don't need a dumpster. I don't know why.
Well, no, it's just-
they don't have a dumpster now.
Well, the whole point is, like he said, so you got a couple businesses on front, like the builder, EACM or whatever over there. It's technically a built business, it's on Ocean Avenue.
Right.
I mean, he probably puts out 1 can a week. We can't make him get his own garbage pickup for probably what's less than 1 can a week.
Well, you can.
Well, I mean, but I'm saying.
And typically what happens in those situations, as I've said many times, it isn't just him. He enters into an agreement with fellow property owners, with fellow businesses, that they chip in and they get someone to come, and that takes care of all the commercial garbage. It's not one little business having to hire a private holder just for himself. I mean, there again, I've got a situation, I'm just one little log, we probably put out one can of garbage, but we're paying for our trash.
I mean, personally, I am completely for this. I think it's something that we definitely have to do, so don't get me wrong here. But I definitely think that there have, as Joe said, I think there are some that don't really make a lot of garbage, and they don't really produce a lot of garbage, and there's others that really take advantage of it. So, the other aspect that you kind of mentioned, but is not only the truck coming in, getting it, and leaving, but we have to make it so that we don't have a truck coming every day of the week. Because if we're gonna have them pick up their own garbage, they can make their own schedule, so now we have garbage trucks in town.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously would have to do the statute to see what kind of regulations we can put on the haulers in terms of, number of times a week and other kinds of regulations. My recollection is that there is some regulation already through whoever, I'm sorry, I'm blanking for a minute, I knew that the government entity that regulates that in terms of, they have to get, the haulers have to get these things, if I recall correctly, they're called tariffs. I always thought it was a strange name, but they have to get these things called tariffs. And that already put some regulations on them in terms of hours, I believe, and other things. But we'd have to dive into the statute and see what kind of regulations we put on them.
Because if we're gonna have to do that, and I'm for it, we definitely have to limit it to the same days that our township pickup, because, it's gotta, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, because we don't wanna have trucks coming through town. We got enough traffic as it is, let's not add to it.
It's just two opinions.
Are you stretching
I don't think we have enough information. I look at the 5 cans for Seabright Village. I could put out 5 cans, or the whole village.
No, you.
That'd be huge. And then it would tip and scale in a different direction. Probably not huge. But I would never have 5 cans.
The only, just to touch on what Mark, Kevin just said, if you limit to that, what could stop them from calling our hauler and just ask them to do a pickup on that day? So their trash is still going in that truck's still going on the same route. So you kind of defeat the purpose on something like that. I just, my opinion, I get it. There's some places that generate a lot of garbage. I don't want it to adversely affect the business that doesn't generate a lot. But I think it really comes down to ordinance, changing the ordinance of what can you put out, how much can you put out, and if you're going to go that route and have them pick up on our own garbages, then you just keep the hauler picking it up, and then you just get reimbursed from that business for over by weight how much they're putting out.
That makes sense.
So you're subsidizing.
I mean, it doesn't help our leaky truck issue.
That's where the problem, and
that's never gonna get fixed anyway.
That needs to get fixed by tightening up the contract itself, by fining them, putting fines in place for having issues like that.
Yeah.
And once we start fining them, it'll stop.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's my biggest concern is the leaky truck, because it's causing major problems in town. And then secondly, the amount of things that would have to be switched, which I don't think the residents should be paying the commercial hauling rate. I just don't think we should. But yes, if we can handle the drifting, that would be huge. But that's
I don't know if we have a leaky truck. My observation, and I followed him around, there's probably supposed to be a plug in that bottom of that truck. The plug isn't there. It's not coming out of a crack or a crevice. It's coming out of that hole
So why would they want me to plug it? So that was fixed. Just to touch on that, that was fixed. That was taken care of. So the times I followed the truck, the issue is the amount of liquid juice every time they step on the gas, hit the brake, all that liquid in that hopper is now splashing back and forth. So when they leave the village, your development, at that stop sign, they hit the accelerator to get onto Ocean Avenue, all that's flying out of the back. Because I watched it happen firsthand.
I respectfully disagree, because I have, every time he stops, that hole is where the liquid is. I have pictures, video, what do you want to see? That truck
We
is
just
the same
spoke.
truck. Yeah, it is both. That truck is the same truck that the other vendor had, right?
No,
Did you buy a company and you reuse the
he
truck?
did,
Just
but
use the name.
no, they're different, they're Roselli trucks, they're not, M&S trucks. M&S is green, and,
I wouldn't put the plug in.
but, when that truck was brought to my attention, they did fix that truck, they had truck number 256 coming, which was a different truck. That truck did get fixed, and then that truck started coming back on the road again. So if that's still an issue, let me know about it, if it's still leaking that way, so I can then get back on the hole. If I don't know about it, I can't bring it up to their attention, so I want to stop as much as you do.
So I guess Rich has to do a little more homework. Councilman,
I
sorry.
have to consider with this, where these people store the stuff. Because my main concern in the center of town is an awful lot of trash is being stored directly behind the buildings in those little alleyways. So I think we should connect the two. Limit how much storage area they have, and to have 2 pickups a week or 3, I would go with that. Just because my concern is the safety hazard. You walk in that back alleyway some days, and then you're down cardboard and cooking oil and stuff like that. So if there's ever a fire back there, you'll be on its way. So I think you have to tie those two together.
That's you're 100% right with that. All right, so that'd be hunted again, I guess?
Well, Rich,
Well, whatever it is, Mark, you said.
I'd like to find out what we can and can't do.
Can we also get solid numbers of what the savings would be? Is that possible?
Yeah, I have it.
Okay. And then maybe next month we can have our packet what the actual savings would be.
I mean, I think the easiest way, it's going to be difficult to do that. You could probably ask someone in another town that picks it up of a similar nature, a restaurant of this size, a place of this size, what do you pay, to get rid of your trash? Maybe that's.
You make a call, find out?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what we're selling is the
It's twofold. It's the cost, but it's also the dripping, which is just a reoccurring problem. And the reason it's happening is because we're picking up it's all the commercial trash that's causing the dripping. It isn't your house.
I don't know, I think when you put stuff in bags and it gets hot out,
Yeah, I understand that, but when you put in Angelica's 10 million bags, it really creates moisture.
I just hope we're solving the problem.
Right, I don't know. We have about 4 different things we're trying to accomplish here. So, the financial end of it is one, the fairness to our residents, and also the dripping is a big one, and the hazardous storage, if you want to call it that, or the potentially hazardous
Do
storage.
we have any example ordinances from other towns that are basically telling,
Yeah.
if you wouldn't mind?
But they're readily available. Because I'm aware of most towns that are doing this now.
Well,
Like I said, I don't know if it's 50-50 or what it is, but that's a growing trend.
But we can also reach out to those towns and see what the cost savings was when they implemented it. Granted, it might be 10, 15 years ago, but we can extrapolate out from that. Get some decent numbers.
And these 2 lists are where we do pick up?
Yes.
And is there any list of where we don't pick up?
Process of elimination.
That'd be good, Mark, if we had a list of all of the businesses.
Well, like for instance, I can tell you right now, we've got Super Golden and Union here, and they have their own personal pickup. We pick them up. Well, we pick them up. They have extra pickup. They have extra pickup too. We don't pick up any marinas in town. We do not pick up any marinas in town. Or beach closed.
Or some restaurants that have room for dumpsters.
Providence to.
As John just pointed out, Tommy's is not on the list.
Rumrunner, no. Domin's, no.
About 700.
Second Jetty, no. And Eaton-Side, no. And then his fountains. We pick up fountains?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
We pick up their dumpster?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was private.
No.
Alright, so we're not looking down the road, we're placing it there, we're working on it, so we're doing some resolution on it. But
number 7, we had, I think we wrote a letter, we had one concern about the pile driving, so something to consider, like whether or not, I just sort of throw that, I guess, one, they have to implement that, you have to have somebody else that can monitor whenever they are.
So I can say this much, the property that was in question, I brought this up, is 4 lots away from me, and I felt it. Like it was rattling my dishes and my cabinets, I was like, I thought it was an earthquake at first, but I was like, no, it's too steady to be an earthquake.
Yeah, I asked if that's put it on here, because I think it's something we should definitely be considering, and maybe our engineer should take a look at it or something, to see what a reasonable thing is, but there's gonna be more and more pile driving within this town, as people are improving their homes over the years, and we should be prepared for it. Yeah, I mean, it's been in the past, and it's gonna continue, so, it's probably something that we need to take a look at.
I think a majority of our properties are to the point where they are raised. I don't think we're gonna have too much more moving forward, but it is definitely something that could, like case in point, this property right there.
Right.
They wanted to drive 30, 40 piles under that house. I mean, that would have been 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
All I heard, I received all those calls, and it was just like, the world is shaking.
It was ridiculous. It really was bad. So,
So it's not a requirement today. I remember when they did the seawall, they had those numbers out.
Yeah.
Well, that's on state regulation.
So you recommend we'll get to our borough engineer and see what they put in recommendations?
yes, I definitely think it's something we need to do, though.
Sounds good.
So, you take a look at that for us.
And thank you to the resident that brought it to our attention and got the, sample ordinance to our attention too, so that's good.
Actually, I guess you have to apply to the DOT to do an added sign to North Beach. Right, Joe just said we did for South Beach, that's very,
Have we applied, or have we, or are we applied, or do you need permission from us to apply?
Both, right?
But
We applied, yeah.
Yeah.
Did that say on spot, yeah, that, I don't know, it's gonna go ahead.
Yeah, so Ronnie Jackson has the sign. He says it's not in good shape. He said he can fix it up. I told him last month to go ahead and fix it up because I was under the impression that it was good to go, but he said that he recommends that we get a new sign.
No, he's gonna be able to fix that thing,
It was in front, but
it was in front of the truck.
You're not though, you gotta do it, and you're certainly not doing it.
Well, the other thing is too, that sign is wood. That sign, it's carved wood in different spots and it's layered. So eventually that will crack and have to be done again. The one down in South Beach is paint on, it's vinyl, so chances are that's gonna last a little bit longer.
It's just a shame, I mean, the whole point of doing this was to save the cost, because for people who don't know, it's the exact same sign. We modeled the sign in South Beach after the sign in North Beach, that was in front of Charlie Rooney's house. And that's the sign you're talking about. And we specifically,
I mean, he can do it. He's just
duplicated it so we have to pay for 10 times.
Yeah,
so the decision is
So
whether
seriously, he's
to
recommending not do it.
How much did the last one cost us?
approximately 2,000.
What's that?
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. And how much, can you find out how much he's recommending? So he's saying don't even bother?
He said 1,500 to fix it up.
Which sounds like an estimate.
Sounds like we're gonna fix it.
Right, 1,500, 2,000.
Yeah, exactly. It's included.
Positive the extra.
I guess he might as well do the new one, it just suggests.
That's why, that's why, we're basically telling you, I have to go with the same recommendation.
But this is, we apply for the highway occupancy permit so that we can just put it in.
Yeah. So what do you want to do? You want to just get, I recommend.
I recommend getting a new sign.
All right.
Match the one that's down there, and then once I can burn it, put it in where we talked about, and we'll have 2 regular signs.
Dude,
No, what's the chance of them denying?
Slim to none.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Okay, before we buy a new sign, I just thought.
So for those of you who don't know, we were out there a couple weeks ago, and we're thinking, the spot we're thinking of putting it is just before the U-turn, as you're coming off the bridge. So as you come off that bridge, that big grass island there, to kind of go around doing this, and you look right there as you on Ocean Avenue before you go around the curve. So it was the only spot that really made sense down there.
It's gonna be a 2-sided sign.
yes, just like the one south.
Just like the one side.
And then, which side of Ocean Avenue will be on?
It's gonna be on the southbound side. So as you're coming
The
off
west
the
side,
bridge, it'll be on your right.
So So it's gonna be very close to where the curve.
Right, yeah. It's gonna be like,
Now, it will be, it's not, no chance for car hitting it. It's gonna be in the lane.
yeah, there's a number of light poles right there. It's gonna be before the light pole.
Just one question.
Tell them to move forward on great design.
Yeah, this is an objection anyway. It makes the most sense.
So do you need approval from the council to do that, like a formal resolution, or can Sam just tell them to go move forward?
Yes,
That was a yes to move forward?
just move forward.
Okay.
Just one question. We need DOT because we're within their right of way?
It's their property.
Well, that's their property, that circle's their property.
Oh, okay. But if we were not in their property or we're outside, we could do it
But
ourselves.
there's really nowhere else to put it. We were out there, we looked, and there's really.
Yeah, I can see why they'd say no.
Yeah.
We need it one in South Beach,
Yeah.
so we got that.
Okay.
All right, the RFPs are gonna go out for professionals,
Just a-
annual.
Just a notice, and Chris tells me, they'll be going out in November, and, they need to, we'll receive them by December 10th.
And there were
So
two
kind of review everything.
things added, risk manager consultant and insurance broker for flood insurance. We've never gone out.
We've never gone out for those.
And you'll make sure the current people holding those positions get copies of those RFPs. Thank you. Because they won't be looking for them.
Yeah.
We always send them.
I know, I'm just saying.
All right, Joe, Article 10, each business with specs, contract details.
We council decided we want to go out for a 5-year term.
It was gonna be 5 years with the right of renewal, then we can do that once. One renewal.
I mean, what I found was, just for 5 years.
Okay.
I just found 5 years, well, it's in your table.
I'll take your word for it.
But I did find 5 years, but I didn't see it.
We have to determine though, when we were talking internally, we bid it out. Are we bidding it out for the 5 years is the primary goal?
Yes.
Or money is the primary goal? If someone only wants a 1-year term and bids more money than someone bidding on a 5-year term, how do you evaluate that?
Well, you have to take it out as it comes in. If someone's paying a lot of money for a 1-year term, and that's a better, right? The council would have to evaluate. You don't have to be the 5
Yeah,
years.
that's
That's my problem. I mean, word correct.
Do we have that discretion to evaluate, or is that very specific in that?
You should have a specific in there, yes.
That's not the way we evaluate.
Yes, I mean.
We have to change that aspect. And if it's a monetary consideration, if someone bids 5 years, do they have to do it for 5 years? If they do not, is there a penalty?
No, there wouldn't be a penalty. The idea behind this was that these businesses pay a lot of money, a lot of money for their infrastructure to get these businesses going. And then they're afraid that they're going to put all this money into it. This is their entire identity. And then someone's going to come in the next year and outbid them because they were successful, and that's not fair.
We all discussed that,
Yeah.
we understand that, but I guess, so the question is, say for instance, somebody comes in with a 5-year bid, because they can, this may come with a 2-year bid, and a 2-year bid is higher per year.
Right.
Yes, that's what we're.
Yeah, no, I know.
We need to
Just
we
tweak
need
the
to
language.
have to put that in there so we understand.
And when we allow 2-year bids, in the past, the second year had to be 50% more than the first year.
That's fine.
Are you gonna increase it 50% every year for 5 years?
Did 3, 4, 5.
I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with that. I just want to give the businesses a chance to really mature.
My preference is for a 5-year, as opposed to the monetary aspect of it. Primarily because, the reasons that you mentioned where, these businesses do spend a lot of money to get it set up and everything like that, number one. But number two, it's also less maintenance and less headache for us internally to put these out for bid every year if we don't have to. As a township, if we get businesses that get it for 5 years, and that's 5 years of the savings of having to put these things out for bid every year, and never mind the maintenance and the municipal work that has to go in there, paperwork and everything, so it's a lot easier for us.
It's also somewhat of a commitment from the vendor.
Exactly, yes.
I'm going to be with you, not.
Right, and and obviously, if we can get the extension too, that'd be beneficial.
So how do you want to work the increase each year?
The proposal that we were given by Lucky Dog, it said 3% increase every single year. That's what it said. And I'm not suggesting, I'm just saying that's what they wrote down.
What did we say? It was 50%.
It was 50%?
Like, if it was $100 the first year, it'd be $150 the second
It was
year.
$100.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's like if you buy the 5-year one, it's $100.
And certainly,
If you pay for the whole week,
It's $700.
Skim is 1,000, should we
it's not gonna change.
change that a little bit?
If it's gonna be a 5-year bid, I don't know why should this only be $100. I mean, they should pay, I would think they should be more.
Well, it should be a minimum of $100 per year.
So should we
Yeah,
lower
I think it's
skin
higher
camp
than
to
bucks.
200?
Huh?
Should we lower skin camp to 100? Surface.
Well, the only reason, I think the reason the skim camp is so high is because of where it's located. Because it is located on our public beach in the middle of our beach. So as opposed to surf camp is on the north end of town, not really on the public beach and taking up space. We actually have to, our lifeguards actually have to shut down some of the beach on the skim car. Well, actually, no, they're in there in the morning, aren't they? They're in there every morning before we get there. That's right.
Maybe, Chris, I'm understanding your question. It would still be a 5-year bid for the skin
Yeah,
camp.
right, but I'm just saying the bid amounts like.
Should go up.
But what you're saying is skim camp is $1,000, yoga classes are 100, volleyball's 3,000, surf camp's 100.
For 1 year. For 1 year.
For 1 year.
So does it go up 50%?
I'm just saying, should surf camp and skin camp be more on the same level as far as the minimum bid?
Yeah, I don't know.
Rather than,
What about volleyball? What's different?
we have volleyball higher because they make things there,
So the skin.
right? About surf camp.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know the number of the surf camp.
But that's why 50% is significant, because it's not, doesn't necessarily mean $600. But it wouldn't matter if it's only $100 a year. But, yeah, the district coming in higher than that.
Just raise the minimum bid, put it out and see what happens.
Well, the other thing is too, is volleyball and skim camp, like I said, they're downtown, we do maintain that property. Whereas surf camp they maintain their property up there, they keep it clean, they have their own lifeguards, they have all that. So we don't
Do you
really.
want to just leave it as is?
I say just leave it
I
there.
think, I think just leave it as is, and then if it's a 5-year contract, it's, I don't know, extrapolate it out.
Would it be advisable to have a minimum number of years? Has to be a minimum 2 years, up to 5 years. For new people starting out, stuff like that.
Well, no, because I mean, if they sign up for a 5-year and they only use 2 years, maybe they decide it's only.
Then we just agree we're gonna have the language worked out so that they can apply for a 1 year, and whatever 1 year, and then we'll evaluate the bid when it comes in.
Yeah, okay. That's fine.
Yes, and then the best bid wins, but up to 5 years.
Thanks.
So we're gonna work on that.
But if we can also get preferential treatment for the 5 year, we want the 5 year.
Right, but we'll deal with that internally. I mean, that's not, I mean, I don't know if you can say that in this text or not. So we get into a 5 year. And I gotta go. I have to be unfortunately in court at 10 o'clock, so.
Yeah, and also, so I had been Mark before the meeting, and I had the early too, assuming we would finish up, and then Mark told me the same, so it was like, Jack, if you're out of the meeting and walking the line. That's just what you're saying. You're
Let me try to go through these. If you,
Are you back up? All right.
the rest are
Also,
2022 beach. Yes, sir.
I know we have an executive session coming up, so I gotta be on, I've appointment at 11, I'll be on the road for an hour, so depending on the timing, I can call in for an executive.
I will get you on
next.
I'll get you on my phone.
All right, thanks.
Beach fees, annually, we start setting them now because we have the preseason sales starting in December. I had not talked to Don about it. I should have, but I haven't. Is there we've generated a significant amount of revenue. Do we want to maintain our current fee structure for lockers?
Yeah, the one thing I have a question on the lockers is John. I know with the lockers, I know there's a bunch of them that need to be replaced, so.
There are-
350 still okay there for that?
There are a lot of lockers that need to be replaced. A lot of them had
It's not rotted out. There's been a lot of activity on there with kids running on them, so there's a lot. So talking to Don, my advice to Don was to let's start pricing out getting these lockers made in plastic, in like a Trex type board. It'll be more money, but we will get more use out of it.
So should we up the prices on the locker?
What's the price right now?
$350 for the large and $300 for the small ones.
So that was on a 5-year, getting 5 years out of it, 36 months or 15. It costs that to make them. So what we're making on a locker is.
So should we up life expectancy, $100 for every board there? $450, $400.
We're out of business to make money.
$450, $100. This is for the lockers.
I would say up the lockers, keep
It's illegal for us to make it. That's what's
keep the badges there.
Yeah, keep the badges where they're at.
Up the lockers.
Anybody opposed to that? Going 400,
Plus the
450 for the locker?
lockers, any.
And that includes the dailies?
Leave the dailies where they are.
Leave the dailies where they are. Well, was anybody check the price of long range?
No, I didn't. Well, as far as the
Lockers?
no.
Just remember all lumber, materials, everything.
Everything's up.
Everything's gone up, yeah.
So no matter what we make it out of this year, it's
It's gonna
gonna.
cost more.
Were we also planning on cabanas this year at all?
No,
No, we hadn't spoken about that.
but it's still on our list. The problem with cabanas, I don't want to divert, to run electric and water to them, we need a CAFRA permit. CAFRA bases their fee on the size of the
Kick that
property.
down a little
Yeah, it's a big deal. We'd have to subdivide the beach.
bit. All right.
So 400 and 450,
For the lockers, yeah.
Just if I could just follow up on, are they gonna be repaired or replaced? John,
both.
are these lockers, are they repairable or are they gonna replace them?
We'd have to, once all the stuff comes out, I mean, there's quite a few that need to be replaced. So it cost to replace them 2 years ago, because we didn't make any last year, ran between 1,500 and 2,000 to replace.
Is that one locker or two lockers?
One. Well, it's two, correct, it's two, so 300 out of life, we're $3,000 out of life expectancy. So we're making $1,000 per locker, but they are to replace, some we could probably get away with repairing, but, if we do change the material, just keep in mind that probably be people, that have questions about wanting a certain locker over another locker.
Well, that's neither here nor there. I mean, that just, you'll eventually get it. So, okay, I think we're okay there. We also want to try, remember we tried that company that used, for the gazebo, they used,
The prison.
yeah, the prison, we're gonna try that.
They do make them, so I'll reach back out to them.
Look at, could you also just double check with home branch and see where their trees are, just so.
Do that before last night. Beach locker contents,
So that was just fine.
same thing happens every year. We move the lockers over there, there's still people that have their stuff in it. Every year, it's on your contract that it says it has to be out by September 30th. Just a point of information for council, that we get complaints that, for one thing, the Public Works, even when we empty them, we bring the stuff down to River Street for a period of time where people can still go and get their stuff. But we get our complaints every year that you stole my umbrella, or or my beach chair, or I had a diamond ring in there. We always get that. But Sean and Dave, they're letting it stay over there. We won't empty anybody's until we get to that one to repair or replace.
In our locks, did we take the locks off at September 30th?
No, everything's still up.
So if they left the lock,
They're locked.
Until we get to that one to repair or replace, then we'll cut it off and remove the content.
Yeah, so the big thing has always been, like last year, they emptied the lockers, and they tossed everything out. I mean,
That's something that we did not toss everything out, and I don't know why this keeps coming up, but I take.
Because we did.
I got the blame of it. It was all down River Street, and we had numerous amounts of people come pick it up at River Street. But that was, at the time, November, December, when we were changing those lockers out, so we just took everything out, piled everything down there, left it down there for a good 2 or 3 weeks before we actually then threw everything out. Everybody had fair warning of their stuff being, and then that's why it was.
Where you call it, very well.
Yeah, who did? And that should cover it, right?
Yeah, it does. I just a point of information. We're leaving them over there. That's our program. We try to give everything till,
Well, if there's anything salvageable before you throw it in the trash, here's a friggin' Goodwill or something like that. Don't just toss it in the trash. Don't Goodwill.
Oh, believe me, I would if it was salvageable, but the stuff in there.
Yeah, it's all broken, cracked,
Mildew, molded.
But it's part of our policy that October 1st, everything's off our beach. There's a period of time where we get everything off because we have 4 people. And, we can't go out there and, continue, we clean it up one last time and everything comes off on October 1 on the east side of the wall.
And to that point, it's also includes the garbage cans for the same reason. So, that's another sticky wicket with a lot of the town's folks not having garbage out on that beach side, but it's just too difficult to maintain with our staff that we have.
And we do have trash cans every year.
We have them on the west side. So I don't see why it's such a big deal to carry it up and over.
And if I could just touch on that point too. So yeah, that is correct. Everything is on the west side. Now, all of our trash cans are placed at public access points. Right. Only public access points. Sometimes there's a courtesy during the summer months of placing outside of a community that has access. But for that garbage can to stay there all winter, it's not feasible. There's a couple private accesses down south, and then heading this way, so they're all kept at public access points for that reason.
And then this last one, Greg.
Should get.
So this last one is the, obviously you walk around town, you see stickers on it, and it's turned into a sticker war between Melonhead and Viable, and it's gotten ridiculous. I mean, you can see them now like 3 or 4 deep on signposts. So I think we definitely need to, either an ordinance or something where we can say, listen, if we see your stickers out and your stuff, it's gonna be $5 for every sticker that we have to remove, and we give them a fine or some crap like that, just to prevent them from doing it. It's fine if they want to put them all over there on stuff, their tables and everything like that, that's fine, but if we see them on our signposts, on our telephone poles or whatever, in fact, I've seen Angelica stickers on their staircases. For their menus, so and hell, they're putting on the parking meters too. So it's become a problem, and I think we definitely need to do something about it.
You would think those exist.
Can you determine the dates?
It's not that they're doing it. What they're doing is they're giving the stickers out, and kids are going around, and whomever is going around and sticking them on the thing. But the fact that they're giving them out and they see that happening. If you walk by Melonhead, the one-way sign next to Melonhead, it's got about 30 stickers on it from Melonhead, and it's right next door to them. It's like, you can see that it's happening. Stop giving stickers out. So either stop giving them out or, just take them off when you see them.
But I think it'd be difficult to find them, because they take it to court, that's a
Well, Mark can attest to this because he got yelled at. It happened to him one time for one of the events that he did in Red Bank, a movie event. They were handing them out, and he got pinged and got pulled to court for it. And he didn't get held responsible, but again, it's something that just needs to be done. So we have to make the town, the businesses in town aware of the fact that it has to be dealt with. One way or the other, whether we find them or we just slap them on the back of their side.
We just pay for any visits and we'll cooperate.
Me and John will take a ride over there, talk to everybody, we'll see what happens.
Thank you.
Maybe just ask who's very long. It's getting ridiculous. Anyway, so that's enough of that.
Just a couple updates. Halloween curfew is our annual curfew. You'll have some donations of beach badges to some nonprofits next week. I don't know who they are, Chris.
County Historical and, we do that every year.
And are compliant with the resolution of compliance with audit. We do have one item under executive session.
Have a motion, we can move to executive session.
A legal matter.
So
Second.
And there will be no action taken that, and we cannot, we're going into executive session. So adjourn the meeting after that without any public action.
Okay, thank you everybody for coming out.